It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff, Gina, and Danny Sullivan are here. Gina's got glass. We'll talk about that and have a preview of what to expect next week at Google I.O. It's all next on Twig.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 197, recorded May 8th, 2013. Getting lucky with glass. This Week in Google is brought to you by LegalZoom.com. LegalZoom is not a law firm. LegalZoom provides self-help services at your direction, like affordable business and personal documents you can trust. Visit LegalZoom.com and use the offer code TWIG to receive $10 off at checkout. And by Squarespace.com, the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create a professional website, blog, portfolio, or online store. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, visit Squarespace.com and use the offer code TWIG5. And by Hover.com. Hover is the reliable domain name registration and management service that's simple, honest, and easy to use. For exceptional customer support and 10% off your new domain name, visit hover.com/twig and use the offer code TWIG. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show that covers Google, the Googleverse, the cloud. And Danny Sullivan is here from Search Engine Land and Marketing Engineland.com. Great to have you, Danny.
Hello. Good to be here.
He's wearing his Surfrider t-shirt.
Yes.
I like it. Nice to see you. Also, looking better than ever, thanks to Google Talk, of all things, Jeff Jarvis from the City University of New York. Look at that. The color's good. You're on the Pixel. You're using G-Talk. Why didn't we do this before?
Well, you tell me.
Yeah. I think we thought that the codec that G-Talk was using wasn't very good, but it looks really good.
Yeah, and the reason for this is so the show understands is that it turns out my university must have put up a new firewall and it disadvantages Skype, so that got to 15 frames a second max.
Yeah, and last week you were just blur. You were blurry.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah.
So now we, thanks to the good work of Chad and Russell on the Twig staff, last night we figured all things out and tried a lot of things, tried this, and I think Twig is now in Google.
Yeah.
And just for the technical info, the drivers weren't working before, and it also freaked me out that it used to be that you could hit the Google Talk button and it goes straight into what we're using. Then they replaced it with the Hangout button, and I kind of got shy of that and said, you know what, we really shouldn't use this product because they could change it at any time.
Right. But that was another problem I forgot, is that we couldn't send video back initially, but now that was fixed at some point.
Right.
So
Blackmagic updated their drivers.
Blackmagic did it. Okay, so I think we may at least have this as because we don't have to use Skype. We may have this as a backup on our shows because
I think the other thing you should work on long term is WebRTC.
Yeah, I agree, because that's a standard
client that you can control, and then you can do neat things with it.
We shall play with it. Also here,
or we won't have this at all, and we'll just, like Gina, see the show up here.
I think Gina should be doing the show via glass. Look at that.
Yeah.
She has joined the collective.
Screen cap that.
Gina Trapani is here, or also known as 8 of 9. And her blog is smarterware.org. No, she's not 7 of 9. She's 8. It's very important. 7's already taken. So nice to see you. So you got your glass.
I did. Good to see you too.
What do you think?
I look like a dork. That's
no, you
what
don't.
I think.
No, you know what? I'm rapidly getting used to it. You remember I was saying it was like the Segway? It's not that bad. I'm rapidly getting used to it.
People keep saying that. It's not that bad. This is the thing. I don't want people to say that about me. I don't want to be just not that bad.
Gina, you've got a microphone strapped to the side of your face.
Yeah, exactly. The Madonna mic with that is complete.
Yeah.
I have so much gear on my head right now. I've got earbuds. I've got the mic. I've got the glasses. There's a lot going on.
I think you need an oxygen tube or something too, just to complete it. Yes.
So we did get we got our email. You remember Jason Howell was at I.O. last year, and he registered number 737. He got the email today, and I made an executive decision. I gave him the glass because he's got a newborn. People with newborns should jump to the head of the line with Google Glass.
Yep.
He's pretty happy about that. I'll pay for it. I'm not going to make him pay for it, but I tried Scoble's glass. Scoble was on Twitter on Sunday, and I got the idea. I don't think I'd wear it a lot. What do you think? Remember, Scoble said he's going to wear it all the time for the rest of his life. What do you think, Gina?
Yeah, I'm definitely not in the Scoble camp. I'm not like, oh, I can't imagine going through another day of my life without this. But I do think that this is kind of interesting technology. I mean, I've gotten awesome videos and pictures of my daughter. I love getting text messages and just being able to glance up and reply really quickly. I love not having to mess with my phone. The nav is really cool. But I have to tell you, if you're in the least bit self-conscious and you don't live in San Francisco or New York or LA, you really think twice about going out in these things. Now, I mean, I wear, and this is the other thing, I don't wear glasses on a regular basis. So this is kind of a new thing for me. I wear sunglasses a lot. And in fact, I put the sunglasses in, I snap them into glass, and I feel sort of more comfortable with going out with them, that way. But yeah, I drove on the drive home from LA. I was talking about this online. I stopped at a rest stop. We had the baby and whatever, and a small kid, a child, like an 8 or 9 year old, was totally staring at me.
Mommy, why is that woman disfigured?
Yeah, like kind of getting dragged along by her dad. And she was just kind of like, "What is that?
What is wrong with that woman, Mommy?"
I was like, I'm scaring like a little girl. Like, I don't know if that's a bug or a feature or what.
That's a whole feature of through glass. Well, first, Gina, are you willing to show on the show the best through glass picture I have seen anywhere yet? I put it on the rundown.
Absolutely.
Oh, is it on Gina? Is it on Gina's?
Absolutely, yeah.
Google Plus?
Go to the rundown. Go to the rundown. There's a picture there. It's exclamation points. It says best photo ever.
Oh my golly gosh!
Yeah, that's
okay. That's what you want to see because that's the mommy's view of Etta. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh.
And of course, what's Etta thinking right now?
Yeah, I know. She's well. Her first words are going to be "okay, glass," right?
Well, what you're really getting is what a baby looks like when she sees her mama in a way that you really wouldn't get if a camera in front of your face. She's looking at you and she's pure joy.
Yeah. That's
hey Gina,
really
how did you share that out to the public? Because I thought the glass would only share the pictures out.
Oh no!
I was playing with Matt McGee because he got his on Monday, and I went up to watch him and take pictures and stuff, and he couldn't share anything out to the public, only to extended circles.
He hadn't set it up right, probably.
Yeah,
right?
you can if you go to google.com/myglass, which is basically where you do all the kind of advanced configuration. Under sharing contacts, you can add any circle, any individual, and one of the options is public, so you can add public.
Excellent.
Yeah,
The
although it
baby's
makes me
great.
nervous. It's so.
It shares automatically, right?
Well, instant upload is turned on by default, and everything's private by default.
Oh,
So
okay.
any video or picture I take is instant uploaded up to Google+. So I've been doing a lot of that, where everything it gets instant uploaded up, and then when I'm at my computer, I look at okay, and then I share, kind of curate share. But that one, any images that you see with the Through Glass hashtag, somebody has shared directly from their glass, right after they took it.
Speaking of which, I started a Tumblr blog.
Oh,
amusing through glass pictures.
what's it called?
It's on the rundown as well. It's throughglassommy.tumblr.com.
I like it. I'm following it right now.
There have been a couple of cool videos. There was one of a guy dunking a basketball. Ryan Warner, who's actually in the chat room right now, he had glass on during his graduation, and he got great footage of walking across the stage and accepting his degree and looking out on the crowd, which is really cool. I was like, wow, I would love to have that record of my graduation. The video feature is really cool, although watching it, if the person is moving, it can get a little you can feel a little woozy, kind of watching. So yeah, a little motion sickness.
So this is a fairly trivial use, though. If you say it's a head-mounted camera, big deal.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. This is the thing. There aren't a whole lot of apps for this right now. Like I said, I like getting text messages and phone calls through glass. It's convenient. You don't have to pull your phone out. Nav is great. Taking videos and pictures is great.
Photo, Leo.
But
the Apple genius is looking at this going,
Apple Genius
what
is-
the hell?
But you're right, Leo.
Go ahead, Gina.
I was gonna say, like, when I wake up in the morning, I'm not like, oh, I can't proceed in my day if I don't have glass on, right? Which I do kind of feel like that about my smartphone, right? If I lose my smartphone, that's a problem.
Describe for people who haven't tried it what it looks like to you as you're wearing this.
So when it's on or just
What are you seeing? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Give us the. I've worn it now, so I kind of know. But I'd like to hear in your words, what is the experience, so that people can kind of experience what it's like to wear it, and what do you see? How does it feel? How does it look? All that.
Well, I mean, when it's on your head and it's not, and the screen isn't on, there's this clear piece of glass right above your right eye, which you can see and you can see through it, but you're aware that it's there.
It's in your peripheral vision. It's a periphery though, because you can look. I mean, mostly you're looking under it. You just can see something there. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Mostly you are looking under it, but you can, if you look up at all, you can see through it.
Yeah.
You can wake it by either tilting your head up if you have that enabled, or tapping the touchpad, and then you can see and you can actually see this. You can see the screen come on. Let's see if I get out of the glare. You can see that actually in the shot there.
Yeah, Scoble was at pains to say, you see, people know if you're looking at glass because they can see the screen, if it's at the proper angle.
Right, if it's at the proper angle, exactly. So the screen is just, it's pretty small. It looks as if it's a couple of feet in front of me, right? It doesn't look right up in my face. It looks as if it's a couple of feet in front of me. It does look like a projector, right? So if the glasses slip a little bit, you'll see the red, green, blue. You kind of get the sense that it's projected, but it is pretty crisp. In sunlight, which there's a lot of here in San Diego, it is difficult to see. You kind of want to look at a dark object in order to see the screen well. The user interface is very nice. It's very Google Now like. You swipe through cards using the touchpad on the side. It's very smooth. And honestly, and I think that Scoble was doing this with you on Twit on Sunday, Leo. Google obviously learned a lesson from Android. Remember when Android shipped and you couldn't take a screenshot? With Glass, you can screencast whatever's happening on your glass onto your phone, right?
Yeah, so he had his phone replaying what I was seeing.
Yeah, that's really, really nice. And in fact, sometimes I use that to look at videos because it's clearer and larger on my phone than it is on glass. If I'm like, oh, I want to share this video to the public, but let me just make sure that I haven't, included any, I don't know, phone numbers or personal information or something I don't want public. I would look at it on my phone, which is nice. It comes with shades that you can pop in. It also comes with a clear one of these if you're out and if it's raining or if you're doing athletics. Go ahead, Jeff. What was your question?
No, it's just that besides taking pictures and videos, clear value, are you using it for informational purposes so far?
I turned on the New York Times app, which is there are only 2 third-party apps available: Path, which I don't use, and New York Times. New York Times every hour or so shows me headlines. And I turned it off because I don't need headlines on my field of vision every couple hours.
Have you done any searches with it?
Oh yeah, I have done searches. Yeah, I mostly all the searches I've done so far. It's only been a couple days that I've had it, or just been to try it out. I haven't seriously said, like, hey, Glass. I have done navigation. I have said, navigate to San Diego, navigate to, here, there, or wherever. Navigation is really, really nice and helpful. And a really cool feature that it has, if you're in navigation and you're in walking mode, Glass actually knows which way your head is turned. So it will tell you which way to turn based on which way your head is turned.
Oh,
which
that's
is really
beautiful.
Yeah, which is a really neat bit of tech. There's a couple of really smart things about it. There's 0 voice recognition. So, and Leo, you saw this on Twit too. If you say, okay, Glass, and then someone next to you is speaking, it'll pick up.
Voice rejection, you mean voice rejection. Yeah. So anybody's voice will work.
Anybody's voice will work. It doesn't know your voice.
So if you tap your temple and somebody says, okay, Glass, take a picture.
Right.
They're going to
it'll do it.
It'll do
it. It does have, there's a proximity sensor on it, so it knows if it's on your head or not, and it will sleep automatically when you take it off your head. I think it does that just to preserve battery, which it really needs to because the battery is terrible. Also, it will run down your phone's battery pretty quickly. I mean, this is very much a developer prototype. It sends text messages with a signature that says sent from Glass, which is don't know if I really want that. I would like to turn it off. I should poke around and see if I can. I'm not sure that you can right now. I've had text messages get sent twice. I've had text messages take a long time to get sent. So things are buggy. Although there's an update that just pushed out today that I just got.
Did you get the XE5 update already?
Yeah.
So what happened? What does that do?
I think there were just a couple of stability improvements and
it says brings loads of new features and enhancements.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. I don't know about all that. I actually should look closely. I haven't looked closely at the change log. It felt like everything was just like make sharing smoother, which sharing should work already.
Incoming G Plus notifications. Let's turn those off. Incoming
Okay,
Hangout
yeah.
notifications. Let's turn those off.
Turn those off.
Transcription of queries and messages is now wicked fast. Okay.
Okay.
Long press to search from anywhere in the UI. International number dialing. Hop
Okay.
animation on disallowed swipes in the UI.
What the heck?
Oh,
does that
okay.
mean?
So it'll hop or
Okay.
something, right?
So so let's see.
So if you try to do something,
I just got a Google Plus notification. Oh wow, got a bunch of them. So if I try to swipe, it'll
it's
it should
working.
hop. Yeah.
New on-head detection calibration flow. Show serial number on device info card. More reliable estimation of battery charge. New recipient list mosaic. That's not what I would call exciting new features and enhancements.
Yeah, I mean, it's still
a
really
bug
early.
fixing, yeah.
It's a bug fix release.
So,
that
Gina,
was my
how
glance
does
over
it
that.
communicate with the phone?
It's Bluetooth tethering, so it Bluetooth pairs with your phone. Using the My Glass app is really important. I haven't tried. I don't know if this talks to iPhone at all, if it works with the iPhone or what. But the My Glass companion app links to your glass. You know, same Bluetooth pairing process that shows you a pin on your phone, shows you a pin on glass. You tap to say yes, the pins match.
But it will use your phone's data.
It will use your phone's
plan.
data. Yep. And it uses your phone's battery too. So it can run down your phone's battery as well.
All of this and more is why I gave it to Jason. It's like, Jason's howling.
It's a developer prototype. Like I think it's really important for everyone. And this is not how the final consumer product is going to look. This was my one line review is there's something interesting here about the heads up display. Google did some nice work with the UI, but this has a long way to go.
I agree.
Long way to go.
Robert
Robert
compared it to the feeling he got when he first got an Apple II computer when he was a kid. Like it couldn't do much either, but this you could see this was the beginning of a revolution.
Yeah, like there's something
speaking
here.
of which, Gina, you, Ms. Developer Queen, does this inspire anything in you yet about things that you could imagine making for it?
Well, yeah, honestly, I've been thinking a lot about notifications from all my apps, from ThinkUp, from To Do Text. So I've been thinking, and I've been looking at the API. I got whitelisted to get API access, which is what everybody does when they get Glass. So I haven't dove in yet, but I'm interested in kind of just basic stuff that you'd imagine. So like on a to-do list, if I mark coordinates, I'm going to pick up milk at Ralph's. When I'm near Ralph's, Glass should pop up and say, hey, you're supposed to pick up milk, that kind of thing. With ThinkUp, if there's a new insight that's high importance of emphasis, I would want it to push to Glass and say, oh, I've got something, worth looking at here. But, you have to build, with Glass, you have to be very judicious about what you're showing, right? It has to be very timely, very relevant, very compelling, or else, your users are going to shut the app off. That's why I don't think the New York Times makes sense. The only time that the New York Times headline makes sense for me is like the Boston bombings, for example. Not like big,
or
big
today,
events.
In New York, today we had killer rainstorms. So this morning, for the first time ever, and friends with some of my friends too, the phone went off when I hit the city with a civil defense warning sound. I've never had this before. Flash flood warning till 9:15. And it was weird.
Right.
I've never seen that before at all. So you can see that kind of alert.
Yeah.
On the Glass would be fine. All right. Next question. What application do you most wish would do an adaptation for Glass?
Well, I mean, Glass is very heavily integrated into Google Plus, and consequently I've been using Google Plus a little more. But I spend most of my time on Twitter, so I mean, the most obvious ones I want are like Twitter, the social apps that I spend the most time in: Twitter, Foursquare. I would like to listen to podcasts on Glass. That would be really
How's the
nice.
sound,
I'd like
by the way? How's the bone thing work?
It works really, really well. Yeah, there's a speaker on the back. It's a bone conducting speaker. It's right up kind of against the back. Their bone behind your ear, and it sounds surprisingly clear. Much better than I thought that it would. I could very easily listen. I probably wouldn't listen to music, but I could very easily listen to podcasts, and that's something I would love to do. So Pocket Casts. I would like for you to build some glassware for me.
That's interesting.
I mean, I want to do, I want to do anything that I do on my smartphone that's a reasonably small amount of swiping. Foursquare check-ins seems like an obvious thing, right? I'm sure Google Latitude is going to be built into this very quickly. I would like, I like things like Foursquare Explorer, like, 4 of your friends have been to this restaurant you're passing by, that kind of thing. I would actually be really interested in that. So all the kind of major apps I really would like to see.
I'm so glad you're there first.
Yeah, and enjoy.
I'm going to play around with the AI and see, see what I can see if I can come up with something kind of fun, just to see how easy.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So Leo, I used to be the guy who sent stuff back. Now
Yes, Mr. Reboxer.
Yeah. Now you're the guy who. Oh, Pixel, get out of my way.
I didn't send it back. I didn't send it back.
Yard, Glass.
I didn't send it back. I didn't. I just not gonna. I'm not. I'm paying for it. I just think there's somebody who'd be more. It'll be more used to. And I don't. I would use it for 5 minutes, and I would put it in a drawer. So.
Like every gadget of yours, yes.
Not every gadget, no.
The Hangout feature is pretty cool, and in fact, we can Chad and I could try one out if you want to see it. Although
sure.
It's not a very good view here. I mean, it's just my messy desk.
Can we do that? Really, Chad? Can we do a Hangout?
So I'm watching my Google Plus stream right here, and then Gina is gonna.
Okay, Glass. Hang out with Chad Johnson.
Oh, that was scary.
And then now let me watch my stream for it to come in. Here it is.
Oh, look. Wow. This is kind of amazing.
And then let me reset.
And what it sees is not you, but it sees what you're seeing.
What I see.
Yeah.
So it's going to see my screen, right? Oh, yeah, Chad's going to turn off audio so I don't hear both. So this is kind of boring. This is just my messy desk. There's my keyboard. Let's see.
Will we look around the room?
Yeah, look around the room here. I've got a picture of the Apple One up on my wall here. I don't know if you can see that. Got my little audio box here. Yeah, I've got lots of chords, messy chords going on. Yeah, and it's sunny outside because it's San Diego. I don't know if I come in on the screen, you could probably see a little better. Yeah, you can see the rundown behind my Skype window. Oh, look, it's recursion.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Inception
look.
now.
Recursion.
I got the old
That's
school.
a programmer talking.
The old school keyboard here. But yeah, so if I was standing on top of a beautiful cliff looking out over the ocean, or if I was holding the baby in front of me and Skyping with grandma, the Hangouts is really cool. And I can see Chad in my...
And Monica in Google Plus, and Monica has done wonderful things because she's disabled and can't get around much, so she's had photographers do Hangouts with cameras through these jerry-rigged operations. Now you can show anybody what you're seeing, right? When you have to go off on a trip, and Emma, here's where I am. Here's where I am now.
Or if you're working on a car and you call a service bureau and say, here's what I'm seeing. Is that normal? That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of uses for that.
Yeah, there's a video. I think it's one of Google's promotional videos. A science teacher went to CERN and did a hangout with his class, showing him the collider. Yeah.
Has the baby grabbed your glass?
The baby has started to reach for glass, and I've backed away.
She's still pretty little. My kids stole my glasses for about 4 years. So I'm just warning you.
Yeah.
Surgeons. So I'm about to. Should I cut the left ventricle or the right ventricle? What do you think?
Your right, my right.
Oh my God! Bomb
how
disposal.
soon is this going to be used? Bomb disposal in a movie.
Yeah. Oh, you'll see these in movies soon.
Oh yeah.
I would guess.
I've been driven absolutely berserk this last week. Media have gone completely nuts, trying to find everything that could possibly go wrong with glass. Business Insider wrote this ridiculous piece about, well, nobody likes glass.
That was the strangest piece ever. I didn't. That was
but now they've got their own version. Now Jay has got his.
Oh, now
glass
suddenly he
himself.
likes it. Yeah.
So that coverage will change.
Yeah. There is a petition on the WhiteHouse.gov site, ban Google Glass from use in the USA until clear limitations are placed to prevent indecent public surveillance. I'm just happy to say that so far 30 signatures. It's not exactly catching fire.
Jeez.
Only 99,970 to go.
Yeah, I don't think glass is a big privacy. After having played with it now, it's so obvious somebody's wearing it. And if
Yeah.
and Robert said he puts them on his head when he wants to signal that I'm going to treat this as private, and I think that will rapidly become kind of de rigueur. But you're not going to see very many glass. I mean, it's like, you're not going to see them in the wild very
How
often.
did it work with your contacts, Leo?
Fine. It's not. I mean, it's not virtual reality or anything. It's a little screen right here. It's not.
Is your right eye your nearsighted or farsighted?
You want it. Robert told me that in the training they told him you want it to be with the eye that you would look at a billboard with. It's in other words your far vision.
Okay. Now what about? Have you seen anybody try to wear it with glasses? Which is my concern.
I have seen pictures. I don't know.
Yeah,
Robert says he's done it. Although he got contacts, I guess because he wanted to wear glasses all the time. I don't know.
Oh, Robert would.
I immediately became. I got an. I wore it for a minute, and I got it.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you feel too, Gina. You got it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you need to continue to wear it to get any more of it. Maybe you do. Maybe you have to wear it all the time to really understand it. I don't know.
When you start seeing your own data on it, when you start to get your own text messages, when my mom calls me on Glass and I just tap to say hi, that there's something very personal kind of about that. You realize like, oh, this is a really great communications device. Like I'm not going to miss a call. I can just glance up to see a text message, which seems very natural. It feels really lazy to say that I'm just too lazy to pull out my phone and check my text messages. But sometimes I just miss them because. Look, this morning I was feeding the baby. I had both my hands and I took a video of her like eating mango for the first time, right? And she made this really funny face. And I got that video, which I wouldn't have been able to get without Glass, right? Because I wouldn't have been able to have the camera and also the spoon and all this stuff, right? So again, that seems like a really trivial usage. And I agree with you, it kind of is, but it's meaningful to me because it's very, very personal. So yeah, I think you can get it by seeing the videos and trying on for a minute. But then once it starts to kind of get incorporated into your own life with your own data and your own sort of circumstances. You start to see glimmers of, oh, this is interesting. Now again, I'm not waking up in the morning reaching for Glass.
I can't wait to get my glass on.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not doing that. But before I leave the house now, I'm like, oh, I'll put them on. If I see something, I'll take some pictures. I'm definitely taking a lot more pictures and videos than I ever did, and I think that's actually a good thing. Did you see Tim O'Reilly was talking about sort of the backlash?
Yeah, but he also was, Tim I respect a lot. I guess we mentioned this last week. He was very impressed with Glass.
Yeah, he's very pro-Glass. And he said, this was just yesterday, he said, what's really interesting to see is to see how accepting people are of public surveillance cameras while they're up in arms about cameras in the hands of individuals. I'd rather have empowered individuals with cameras than laws that let corporations and government track us anytime with video while individuals have that right taken away. So this is kind of the point that this is the White House petition, right? This is the idea of like creep shots, right? I mean, Andrew Keen and Scoble, I just thought it was so funny that the first question about Glass is like, would you take a picture of my junk in the urinal? Right. Which is like, really? Like this is, I mean, I get it. I get the concern.
If we fall into that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I did see a picture in the Tumble blog. There is a picture of a urinal. And my caption is,
don't look down.
Please don't look down.
Don't look any farther down.
Right.
It's not like you're going to see this sudden, we got to have Glass upswell. I don't think. I think the more people that see it, the more they go have my reaction, which is that's nice. It's not a must-have yet.
Right.
But I'm waiting. I think my problem with it is the user interface. I just really want it to be tapped right into my optic nerve.
Yeah. Well, Leo, didn't you go to South by Southwest a couple of years ago and you had a giant backpack with the stick?
Yeah,
and
I've done similarly stupid things.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have to do that, right? I mean, you're the live stream guy. You live
could
stream
do it.
everything, and this would let you do it.
I kind of got past that too, by the way. I haven't done that in a while.
You're over it.
I'm kind of over that as well.
That was your Ugly George moment.
Well, I was Ugly George. Remember him? Maybe if you're not from New York, you wouldn't remember him. But he had a cable channel. He went around with a camera in New York. We were trying different ways to actually it's interesting because the point of that was to see if I could give you a first-person experience of South by, like what it would be like to be at South by. And we realized it's really it doesn't work that well.
Although that crowd surfing video was pretty awesome.
Well, it was a cool moment. It was a moment.
So you're a nerd, and the chat room has asked a couple times whether or not Glass has a web browser installed in it, and the answer is no. I mean, the interface is those cards. They look a lot like Google Now cards, except they have a dark background and white text, and you scroll through them horizontally, right, versus vertically on your phone. And so if you do a Google search, if you say, Google whatever kittens, it will show you one result per card, and you swipe through them on the touchpad this way. So there isn't a traditional web browser.
It wouldn't work. You need, if you look at the text size on these things, you couldn't see a browser. You couldn't read anything.
Right.
Right, which makes you,
right.
if you add this to Siri, the idea of content pages
No.
goes away.
Because the text, you really probably have, what, Gina, 10, 15 characters across at all, at most.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do different text sizes, but yeah, you really can't.
you
You
won't
can't
see
fit
it.
that much. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think it's a little misleading. They say it's like a 25-inch monitor 5 feet away from you. It isn't. It isn't. You can't see that much. It's a tiny.
It sounds like more
Well,
like you
it
gotta watch
reminded
and
me
put
a
it in front
lot
of
too
your face.
of when you first had cell phones and you would get information. And you remember how cell phones?
Oh, horrible.
We had to design everything. You were supposed to have card.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what we talked about. Have the mobile cards, and that wasn't a very satisfactory
WAP.
experience. And
Wasn't it called WAP?
yeah, right. But
That's right,
I remember the few times I've used it, and I've seen those little cards come up, and it's almost like when you go to wanting to get that information, it's almost like you're not quite getting enough.
Right.
It's leaving you like wanting more. But then that also makes you feel like, as Gina said, it's going to get better. That at some point, just like our smartphones, the idea that we would browse the web on the old phones that we had before, when we had to get things like one little tiny screen at a time, is so radically different that you can see it's going to get there. So
Maybe.
It's like the
There's
Twitter of
there's
interfaces.
fairly insurmountable user interface issues the way it is.
Yeah, it's to me, it's like it's a notification platform. I mean, one of these cards, I've got 6-7 lines down vertical, and I don't know, I haven't been able to count the number of characters across, but you're definitely limited how much text you can show. But you have to think about it as like the Twitter of user interfaces, right? Like Twitter, you can only do 140 characters. You have to kind of think of it that way. So like the New York Times app, it just shows you the headline. And one of the things that you can do is you can say, Glass, read me the headline. So it'll just read it to you in sort of a robotic voice. But you're not going to read a New York Times article on Glass.
I think you said something really important. I think that's the key. People think it's a computer interface. It's not. It's a notification platform, much like a Pebble watch would be. It's not more.
Exactly.
Right. It's a
Exactly.
watch held to
I
your
think
eye.
that's a good thing. Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
You're just always looking at it. That's the difference between that and a watch.
yeah, but it's a good thing in some sense, but it's going to have to change. If it's designed, for example, for you to use it as a search interface, right? And tell me if I'm wrong, Gina, but if I recall, it's basically doing the "I'm getting lucky," I'm feeling lucky
Feeling lucky.
approach.
Feeling
When you do
lucky,
a
not
search,
getting
you grab
lucky.
whatever
There's
the
a
first thing
significant
is.
difference.
Right. Thank you. But
If you're getting lucky with Glass, you might be in trouble.
one of the ideal
Or
things
you may
you'd
be
want
so
for it-
handsome you can overcome glass.
But one of the ideal things you want for it, so that it's something beyond just being like a glorified GoPro with Wi-Fi and everything, is that you would you would be able to do a local search, right? You'd be able to find restaurants and have it scrolling through the restaurants and having you pick the right one that you want. Not
Right.
okay, I picked one type of thing, and I don't know that it's it's obviously going to take time to get there, but that is the kind of expansion that you'd want that sort of device to do, because otherwise, if it just continued to be this extension of your cell phone and then you're having to go, oh, well, I'll just go back to my phone, then it really is more this notification camera type of thing and not necessarily a search tool type of thing. And it seems like they want it to be that. It seems like they want this to grow into the device you would have, not the supplementary.
Oh, I don't
device
really.
would
You
have.
think so?
No,
Yeah.
I doubt that.
I don't think it's going to be the device. It's not going to
Well,
replace
no,
the
I'm
cell
saying
phone.
what they want it to be. I'm not, and I think it's going to grow.
They
Whether get
Google
there,
or
I
they
don't know.
users?
Google.
Really?
No.
When
I don't
Sergey
think
Brin
so.
sits there and says, "Hey, this is nice because I feel emasculated when I have to go and use my phone," that's him saying, "I think this should be what we have." I don't think that's him saying, "And this is what it is now," or "This is what it's going to be in a year from now." But I think what he's saying is, this idea of wearable technology is what our future ought to be. Not that we've got this handheld thing, which is really just an extension of the desktop handheld things that we were carrying around. So yeah, that would be kind of your evolution with it. But I'm not saying you get there in a year. I'm not saying you get
right.
there necessarily in 2 years. And I don't even know that it turns into being a glass type of thing that we have. I mean, it may be that, we've got different things. Maybe we've got one of these flexible bands that goes around our wrist that you can take out and spread out. And, I want that Battlestar Galactica thing that they had.
I think the cell phone is actually pretty perfect. I disagree with Sergey that it's
just
emasculating to look down at it. It's got a nice screen. This is 1920 by 1080. I can do everything I want. It's in my pocket. It's not so very far from me. It's
Louis C.K. does this great bit about how he went to his kid's dance, right? And all the parents were standing there like this,
right,
taking a video, and like kind of not being present, looking at the world through this tiny screen. And this is one of the things at Glass. You never have to do this with Glass, right? You either tap it or
that's just a head-mounted camera. I can do that with a GoPro. I can do that. I have another pair of glasses with a camera right here. This is not new. It's not even innovative. Huh?
But because it's all those other things, because it lets you share, because you can also communicate, because it lets you receive text messages and send text messages, and actually, I'm pretty sure that if you do Google search and you get results, you can scroll through them using. So it's not just I'm feeling lucky. It's not just one result. You can scroll through them. So potentially something like the Foursquare app could say, hey, here's recommendations for restaurants. You scroll through them, and then you tap one and it launches into nav. Here's how to get there. I mean, navigation's another thing. I mean, my wife is constantly telling me stop looking down at your phone while you're driving, right? Because I just never went and bought a mount to put it up. Now I know there are laws that say the Glass Guide said don't wear glass and don't use navigation while you're driving, because there aren't laws for this yet. We don't even know if you're going to be kind of allowed, even though it's a hands-free device. But walking and navigation certainly, or biking. So yeah, you're right. There's head-mounted cameras. I guess there's wristwatches which show your text messages. Glass just does kind of all those things in one.
The other thing is in New York.
It sounds like I'm defending and promoting. I'm pretty ambivalent about Glass. I'm just trying to sort of make the case for what's interesting about it.
And the problem with the cell phone too is you see this in New York all the time. These days we need on the sidewalks we need a slow lane for tourists and texters.
Right.
The people who are interacting as they're trying to walk and so on.
It's because New Yorkers just have to move so fast all the time.
Yeah, we do. We got places to go, man. Unlike you, Otis Land.
I'm looking at the skyscrapers. My God, I didn't know a building could be that big. Oh, my. And you're going, I'm sorry, I've got to be somewhere.
Gotta go.
we got things to do here.
Anyway, it's something here. It's the begin, but it's just the very, very early days, and it's kind of unknown exactly where you go from here. And I think there are some significant issues with it. There's no question about that.
Sure, it's an early product. That's why the things like that Business Insider piece and all these other things just dismiss it.
No,
it's ridiculous. The point is, they're getting it in developers' hands. We'll see what happens with it. It's a concept. 10,000 people will use it. And
this is how you get better. Exactly. This is how you make something good. Is you let very wealthy people try it for a while.
The guy from Business Insider, I try to remind him. I don't think he knew this history because he was a young whippersnapper. But the PC, the Apple PC, all that was absolutely worthless until VisiCalc was invented.
Right.
In terms of practical use that changed the world, VisiCalc was the thing that made the PC really important. Made business people
So what's
say,
the killer app? What's the killer app for
know
Glass? We haven't seen it yet.
We don't know.
It ain't a spreadsheet, I can tell you that.
No.
Desktop publishing. No.
Maybe it's chess.
Chess?
Move queen to queen.
I play
3.
chess on my smartphone all the time. I've got games going on right now. Beating them, too. But we shall have more in a moment.
Porn.
Porn. No, I'm telling you, that screen is not for watching porn.
No, not for watching. It's for making
it. I do think that within 6 months we will see, maybe less, we'll see point of view porn from glass.
Oh, yeah.
Seen through glass.
Oof.
Maybe the frames have to get sexier before.
Poor Leo was just trying to go to a sponsor, and then I
really was. We're going to have a buffer now between the sponsor and that.
The dorkiness factor is going to have to be ratcheted down a whole lot more before people want to get busy with these things on.
I bet you there's somebody in the San Fernando Valley right now.
Oh, yeah.
Making something with glass.
Make it something.
Making something. Making something with glass. The point is, though, you have cameras. I mean, I have there's plenty of ways to put this camera on your head.
There are ways you can put cameras, but I mean, they're not really that convenient, right? I mean, and
I have the look-see, which goes over your ear and is right here.
I haven't seen a GoPro porn.
Where's my? I bet
here.
you there is GoPro porn. I don't know, but
I'll bet there is actually. I'll bet.
I somewhere I have my spectacles with the glasses. It's got an SD card in it, and what is it called? Pivot head. Dick DiBartolo does a lot of pivot head videos.
But you know what? That's what you may see, though, as you've seen people try to put together the Google Glass clones and
we'll see a lot of
put that stuff together. But the smart people would actually say, you know what? Let's just put together something that is a Wi-Fi photo video device. And it's as easy as taking a picture as tapping, or it's as easy as taking a picture as, maybe you do speak to it or whatever. Maybe it doesn't have the Wi-Fi aspect to it or whatnot, but it shouldn't be that hard to build something like that for a couple $100, if not less. And that might give a bunch of people, like 75% of the usage that Google Glass is already getting.
Yeah.
But then it would be interesting to see if you see these kinds of clones and these sort of knockoffs or these developments come into that, if it even further shapes sort of this acceptability that we're all walking around with cameras and recording our lives as we go around.
For some reason, I just feel like that will be resolved. There'll be some sort of netiquette established for glass.
Yes.
Make everybody feel better. I'm not too worried about that. So now 2 out of the 3 hosts of All About Android will be wearing glass during the program.
And so is Jason going to pick his up, or is
when are
he
you going to
having
get
it
yours,
shipped?
Jason? Have you made an appointment yet?
No, we have to actually buy it before the appointment's made.
Well, let me give you a credit card, and then you should go down there with the camera crew, and because you should go down, right? You're not going to have it mailed up. Yeah, go to Mountain View. Yeah. All right, I'll give you a credit. My wallet's in the desk drawer there, Jeff.
If you get them and you can't see anything because you got a problem with glasses or contacts or whatever, can you
can give them to Leo.
cancel the transaction?
You don't wear glasses, do you, Jason?
I do, actually.
You do. But you're wearing contacts. Okay. It's only on the right eye. They don't have left eye versions. That's just it.
You can return them. I think it's 30-day return policy.
Oh, that's good.
Oh.
And when you go down, I went to go pick them up. If you go down to pick them up, there's a glass guide who will sit down with you and fit them and do the nose pads and show you how to use it. And so you'll sort it out pretty quickly, like right on the spot, whether or not you can use them.
I think this is kind of
that's what I
cool. Here,
figured.
give this to Jason and he can charge it. Now, by the way, I've just invented a new wallet that has, look at this. This is awesome. A chess set built in. I don't need to carry a smartphone anymore. I've got my...
Nice.
We're going to take a break. And come back in just a moment. Gina Tripatti, Danny Sullivan, Jeffrey Jarvis. The picture's still holding up. Still looks good.
Google, man, Google.
Google. Who knew?
Does it?
They make pretty good products, I heard.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Listen, I got this thing on my face, so I must think so.
You dork.
You are Google gal.
Dark. 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 Dark.
At least you're not calling me the other name.
Nerd. What other name? Glasshead? Oh, Glass.
Yeah.
Glasshead. Our show today brought to you by LegalZoom.com. It is not a law firm, no better than a law firm. LegalZoom lets you do legal work through their self-help services. You direct it. You fill out a questionnaire, and suddenly you've got a will, you've got a trust, you've got an LLC or a corporation. You've got your trademark, your patent, your NDA. There's so much legal work you can do without a lawyer. Just common sense. You've always known that. Why spend hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars just to form an LLC when you could do it at LegalZoom for $99? And if you say, well, $99, I can't do that. That's how Twit's LLC was formed, and still, it's 8 years later, still good, still works. We have our own legal team now, and it's still LegalZoom.com does it all. Well, they not all, but they did that. They do. In fact, what they've got now that they didn't have before is this legal plan. These legal plan attorneys, which are fantastic. It means you can get advice from a experienced attorney in your state for a fixed rate. That's awesome. They have profiles of the attorneys on the legal plan, including unedited customer reviews, so you can pick the attorney you think is going to be the best for what you need. And then it's very simple to fill out the questionnaire and go through. If you don't have a will, you know, the courts will decide where your kids go, where your assets go if something should happen to you. You really want a will. Living trusts, wills are just $69. Copyrights, patents, trademarks. Trademark, you know, is something maybe you should consider for a lot of our audience. You probably have a blog name or a brand or something. You may say, well, it's not a business, but it's inexpensive and easy to trademark it and well worth doing. LegalZoom.com. Try it today. On checkout, if you use the offer code TWIG, T-W-I-G, you'll get $10 off. So use the offer code TWIG at LegalZoom.com. We thank him so much for supporting This Week in Google. Google hires a chief game designer. What could that all mean? Noah Falstein. Is Google getting serious about gaming, asks TechCrunch. What would this be for? I mean, there are games on Google+, but they're third-party games, aren't they? Does Google own any of those? Is it for Ingress?
Good question.
They had a game. Google had a game before this. I mean, they acquired an entire game company, didn't they?
They did?
At one point? Yeah.
How
I'll
interesting.
look it up somewhere. But yeah, no, they had a whole. They were doing a whole. It was even before Ingress. They.
Because Ingress was
they hired
Niantic.
some game company, then they got rid of the game company, and
So Falstein worked at LucasArts, 3DO, DreamWorks Interactive. His title is Chief Game Designer at Google. He joined them last month.
maybe it was just investments that they did.
Now, Niantic, which they own, makes Ingress, and Ingress makes a lot of sense in the Glass universe because it's a game you play with your smartphone as you move around. It's an augmented reality game, basically.
Lively.
What is it? Lively?
It's called Lively. Do you not remember? It was Lively. They launched it in Google Labs. It was to allow people to interact with their friends and express themselves online. They closed it in 2008.
I think if I'm Google, I think about the gamification of things that are going to help me. Like, that's why Ingress is good, because it maps the world, right? So the gamification of something that, you know, I don't know what.
Gamification.
I say gamification because I like to think of long, slender gams. No, it's just because it's just how it should be pronounced. Look at this. Advanced game development topics on Google I/O. Level up your Android game. Practical Android games. There's a whole game.
Well, but the game stuff makes sense because, I mean, for all the talk about people who Google Play has this many thousands of apps and iOS has this many millions of apps and blah, blah, blah. When you go back through and you actually look at what the top apps are, they're games.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are stupid games too, but they're games.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think Google's has any interest in making a successful app. Unless it forwards their goal
it has
as
interest in having successful games. I had my two kids did this test where I gave them Windows phones for a month, right? They shifted off the iPhone.
You're such a mean dad. Oh my!
They asked for it. They voluntarily said, "Do you have this phone we saw in the commercial?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got that." And so I said to Microsoft, "Hey, you want to try this thing? Send down two phones, and I'll switch them out, and we'll see how they go with it." My oldest son gave up. Like within a day, because there was no Instagram. He was done, right? No Instagram. I do not need to use this phone. I need to use the iPhone or Android. My youngest son has stuck with it. He loves the Windows phone, with one exception that occasionally he's going back to the iPhone just to play this one particular game with his brother because it's only on the iPhone. And I think that Google has a huge interest in having popular games that are as good on Android as they are on the iPhone, or that only are available on Android, because that can propel people to say, I want to get that device.
So maybe Falstein is not going to be a developer, although his title is Chief Game Designer. Maybe he's a developer relations kind of a guy.
You know, we covered this. Go ahead, Danny. No, go ahead.
I was going to say maybe he does something similar like with what Microsoft did with Halo, because if I recall the whole history of Halo, it wasn't a Microsoft Studio product or just something that Microsoft worked very closely with?
No, it was Bungie, and they bought Bungie.
but it helped make the Xbox,
Absolutely.
with that thing. And it may be that, Google's at this point where they're like, we need to have a flagship game in the way that we have flagship Nexus devices, because unless we set standards to a certain degree, then maybe the other people won't go up there or understand the kinds of things that they can do.
Or here's another way to look at it. Maybe, and I'm not a gamer, so I don't know, but is there a chance that Google, being a platform company, could create a platform for great game creation?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what they're trying to do. So we covered this on All About Android a couple of episodes back. Actually, Android Police, they do these APK teardowns where they take the APK, which is an Android app, and then unzip it and basically look at the insides and see if there's any more information about things that Google is doing. And interestingly, in the My Glass companion app, there was all this code that appeared to be related to games around Play Services. So Play Services it looked as if Play Services was getting real-time and turn-based multiplayer invitation, in-game chat, lobbies, leaderboards, achievements.
Wow.
So to me, it sounds as if, and I think this is going to happen in I/O next week, Google is gonna announce a game center, right, where they want developers to be using Google Plus sign-in, to have players sign in, because Danny's right on the nose, right? Games are the biggest revenue generators in the Play Store.
You're on it, Gina. Google Plus and games, right?
Yeah, Google Plus and games, exactly. Because
well, they already have a game section on Google Plus.
Yeah, but
They
no.
do.
You want to make Google Plus a game for some people. That's what
Exactly,
and involve it in the game.
The gamification of Google
social.
Plus.
Yes.
Right.
That
There's
makes
a
sense,
game
Gina.
section in Google Plus. I don't think it did as well. I think that this is going to be Android based. But remember last week we covered the story where developers that enable Google Plus sign in on their apps that Google aggregates stats. Like, so if you search for Fandango in Google search results, it'll say Google Plus users like this movie the most, right? So Google wants this integration. So they're going to be pushing that Google Plus sign in next week at I/O. And I also think that they're going to make a big game related announcement. I think this is going to be about, I don't know if it's about the Ouya, but I think it's going to be about, part of it is going to be about the UI. I think part of it is that they know that games sell the best, right? And I think they want to make that platform for developers to make awesome games on Android that you can't get anywhere else. And I think they're going to use that integration across all their products that they now, can provide with the consolidated, privacy policy. This is all sort of building blocks on top of that. I think that's where they're going to go. I think games is going to be a big part of the keynote next week.
I like the idea that it might be tied somehow to augmented reality and glass. I'd love to see us glass-specific games that have to do with interacting with your environment. And what Google gets out of it is more information about what's going on. Maybe you're the next Google Street View.
Ingress or field trip on glass would be awesome.
Makes a lot of sense.
And LAR, do you know LAR? LAYAR?
Oh yeah, yep.
That's an augmented reality browser.
Augmented reality program out of Amsterdam. Yep.
So really seriously, they can get rid of their whole Street View fleet if they get enough people out there wearing glass.
Yeah, and the images will be more up to date, right? If you have an army of folks taking, listen, glass isn't on unless you have it on, right? And you're actually taking pictures. But I take 2 to 3 times more pictures with glass because it's so easy than I take with my smartphone. And I felt like I took a lot with my smartphone.
Right.
More data.
Yep.
It's just more data. I don't think it's wrong to interpret Google hiring a gaming guy not as a way to get into games or develop more games, but as a way to create games that support Google's real mission, which is gathering data.
Yes.
That's why I think they could game. Look at Foursquare is a really good example of. It's almost a game, but
not anymore. They
kind of pivoted.
Done that.
Really, they wish they hadn't done it.
Badges. Yeah, they don't want badges. They want to be the location layer of the web.
But they got all that information because of badges.
Yeah,
well,
it was
where
a
they
way
started
in.
it, but yeah.
But now they recognize that it's not the thing, and they're known just for that.
But if I don't get badges, why should I check in?
Because you get great information.
Because you're going to be told really interesting tips. That Danny went here last week, and they loved the peanut butter cupcake. That's what they want to do.
Do you guys get great tips from Foursquare when you check in?
Oh yeah, it is awesome.
Because we're in Petaluma, all the tips are mine.
So it depends on where you're.
From 2 years ago.
It depends on where you're at, but I use it all the time. I always joke that it's almost like my personal tricorder. I turn it on, and I use that as an example of demonstrating why search isn't just I type something into a box that's typically a box owned by Google.
Right.
If I get to an airport or I get to a city and I'm looking for a place to eat, I can turn it on. It knows where I'm at, and it's showing me things that are nearby, and I haven't even done a search. Right, it's just there. It's very similar to what Google now.
That's
of course,
precisely, Danny. They're kissing you right now because that's exactly what they want to be known for.
Oh yeah,
You know,
and
friends with-
they're great. If you're in a place where people have been sharing stuff, and there have been times where I felt like people have actually shared more in some places and some things than they have on, say, a Yelp. In other cases, they aren't, good or whatever. And I think the challenge they have right now is they need to probably get bundled in with a Facebook or a Google, because I feel like Google and Facebook are now pushing their own local apps so much that it's maybe more easy for people to contribute to those things than Foursquare. And, it's hard for me to get a sense on how much Foursquare is getting beyond the group of people who started because of the badge thing and then have discovered it in other ways.
You know what's
But
interesting is
it's a really useful tool.
in the new Foursquare, they kind of buried it. But in the settings, connected credit cards and savings, they're encouraging you to enter your credit cards into Foursquare.
Mm-hmm. Well, in fact, we talked about this a year ago.
$5 from Amex every time I buy.
Amex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you've connected in credit cards, then you get exclusive savings with Foursquare specials. But isn't that really what everybody wants? That's what Apple has. That's what Google Wallet has. It's just, they got a credit card, and it's one click to buy stuff. Now they have a huge one, leg up. Amazon. It makes sense that Foursquare would want you to do that. They don't really promote it. I found it. It's buried.
That's true. Well, that's kind of a marketing deal with them. But Foursquare again, the location layer of the net. And it's a social layer that's going to give you better recommendations than a mere search engine.
Right.
But to give you a sense, like Foursquare I'm looking at iTunes charts, it is not in the top 100.
Right.
That's
It's pretty geeky.
Yeah, and in contrast, things like Tumblr or something like that are showing up in there. Even something like Pinterest is there. So that kind of, are you breaking through to the broader stuff that you need to get to? I don't know if they're there, and I think that's what they need to get to, because they've got great data and they've got smart people who understand local.
Yes.
Really, really understand it well.
Their view is that they've started on the coasts, and then they hope to, as other apps do, migrate into the heartland.
Eric Schmidt goes off the reservation again, talking at NYU's Stern Business School. He does it every time about Google, and he says people should have a delete button for the internet. Isn't this what Google's fighting in Europe? The right to
Exactly.
His book, I'm reading his book right now, and it's confusing, because on the one hand, in his book, he's saying like, well, once it goes out on the internet, it's on the internet, and you're never going to get rid of it. And there's just nothing you can do about it. And then it's like, but then we ought to have a delete button. And it's like, well, I can't even go to your own search engine and use a delete button. Because if I were to say to you, oh my gosh, there's something really embarrassing, even it's just a suggestion, you're like, well, can't do anything about that because that's just what the people are saying. So he says that sometimes I feel like he just says these things just to like get people going. But the other thing
I think he's smarter than that.
It's really interesting in his book. He almost seems paranoid that kids somehow don't have the ability to have any judgment until they become adults about what they do, or that until the age of the internet, people never did embarrassing things that could perhaps haunt them. It's really very strong. Like, well, you have kids who don't have these social skills, who don't know what they're going to be doing. We need to kind of protect them or whatever. And I kind of feel like, I think, 20, 30 years, what you did on the internet when you were 18 is going to be like Bill Clinton saying, yeah, I never inhaled. And then Obama saying, yeah, I inhaled. It's like those norms start to change. And when everybody has their party pictures up when they were drunk because they were 14 or whatever, and they shouldn't have been doing it. I'm not saying that you should do this. And boys, don't do that.
Well, we know that
when everybody's done that, then you're no longer embarrassed because everybody's done it.
I think it's accepted psychological theory that adolescents take risks because it's safer to take risks as an adolescent. So from an evolutionary point of view, we're kind of programmed to take risks at a younger age so we can learn. So it's normal to make mistakes as a teenager. Schmidt said, in America, there's a sense of fairness, culturally true for all of us. If you have a teenage boy or girl who makes a mistake, does some sort of crime, goes to juvenile hall, is released, in our system, they can apply and have that expunged from their record. They can legally state they were never convicted of anything. That seems like a reasonable thing.
Of a crime?
Well,
Not
wait a
of
minute.
stupidity.
Okay, but today that's not possible because of the internet. That seems to violate our innate sense of fairness. This is the quote. This lack of a delete button on the internet is, in fact, a significant issue. There are times when erasure is the right thing, and there are times when it's inappropriate. How do we decide? We have to have that debate now.
This is driving me crazy in First Amendment land. And I was on a panel a few weeks ago here at CUNY with Bill Keller of the New York Times was on the same panel, and he wrote a column about this afterwards. And it sounds reasonable to say that, but what's happened, in fact, is in some cases newspapers are being told to erase things from their archives. That is a First Amendment issue. That's a free speech issue.
Well, it's only a First Amendment issue if a government tells them to delete stuff. It's not a First Amendment issue.
Well, that's what I'm
if
saying.
somebody...
Yeah, there's a law that says that when this is off the record, out of the record, it's out of the record. And then the other problem is, let's say the newspaper says, well, you know, Danny Sullivan was arrested when he was 15 for blank. And Danny says, no, that got expunged. But the newspaper says, well, no, but it was still a fact.
It's still true.
Happened. And well, but now you have no proof of that because now the record has been expunged. We can't. This is what drives me crazy about this. I'm offended by the notion that you can control knowledge, that you can control facts. You can't. Dana Boyd taught me this lesson. You can control the use of knowledge, but if we think you control knowledge, where does that end, Chairman Mao?
By the way, Gina, Caesars has just announced we will not allow people to wear glass while gambling or attending our shows.
Oh,
You'll see
damn.
that everywhere in
There
Vegas.
goes this weekend.
Dang.
Okay, so there's more attention probably on his delete button thing, but I actually liked what Eric Schmidt said, and it's probably worth repeating in another context. The moderator, Nouriel Roubini, was apparently kind of grilling Schmidt about Google tracking people, and this is what Schmidt said, and I think this is important to hear. Let me be very clear. Google is not tracking you. It's not doing all these things.
Which is totally a lie because it is.
Does everyone get that we're not doing this? Apparently Danny doesn't. He's talking about a different company or set of companies. I think you're describing a world of tracking which I think is highly unlikely to occur because people will be upset about it in the same way that you are. Governments won't allow it, and it'll be bad business. And ultimately, in a competitive market, companies want the consumer to be happy. So it's true. Tracking in this context, a situation where you go to people and say, oh, here's our phone and we're going to track you, people are not going to buy that phone. It's a bad business model. So, Danny, you disagree? You think Google is tracking you?
Of course they're tracking you. Every time I use Google now, it tracks me. I have this thing on Google Maps. There's a button. I'm looking at it right now. It's called My Places. And when I click
That's
on
true.
it,
It's
showing
literally,
me
it
all-
is quite literally tracking
Let's
your...
see where I've been.
It's actually quite literally tracking your movement. But you opted into that.
With your
I was at
consent.
Google headquarters
Yeah,
on
but
May
you-
6th, so Google knows that. I was at
But
their
you
store
opted
on
into
May
that,
6th.
Danny. You turned that on.
It's
That's
still
in
tracking
latitude.
me. It's still
Depends
tracking
on what the meaning
me.
of track is.
Is it?
Rubini was saying basically he was trying to list all these ways, and evidently Schmidt kept on trying to interrupt him.
Right. If he's saying
And
like
all
you're
these
just
ways in which you're
automatic-
being
if you're-
involuntarily tracked.
No, I don't think Google's involuntarily tracking people. No, I wouldn't agree with that.
Google is
But-
not surveilling you. That's
Even
what
if they
Rubini's
know
trying
where
to-
you've been, they're not. There's no human going, hey, let's see where Danny's been.
And there's not a surveillance that says we're going to
that makes it a
use
difference
this.
that
in some
Google
way.
has a record of all the places you've been to when you turn on your phone.
I guess the government can.
So does
but-
my. So, hey, I'm
So does your
better
cell
with that than
carrier.
the phone company
I'm
does.
not saying
the phone
I'm
company
not
knows
saying it's
exactly
bad.
where I am.
My Google now is better because it happens. But yeah,
Yeah.
Google has a pretty good idea of the places I've been to. So does Apple. So does AT&T. So does Verizon. So does any number of people who have access to my phone.
So everybody's tracking
Our
you.
location gets shared all over the place. So
Right.
from Eric to say, well, we don't track you, it's like, yeah, you do track people in lots of ways. Do you track people voluntarily when they allow you to do it? Sure, in lots of ways. Do you track people in some ways that they probably aren't aware of when they're all over the web? Absolutely. You assign out anonymous cookies to people that they don't often know that they have, and you can see them through their ad network, and you can see them virtually where they're going to be going. You've got all sorts of applications that are on your own phones that turn on that may tell people they're sharing stuff, and they don't really think about it that much. That's more down to the people than down to Google, but yeah, there's a lot of tracking going on.
You have a very good point, Danny. So is Eric lying, or does he?
Well, I didn't hear the whole interview, so that's why I'm saying does Google track people? Yes, of course it tracks people. Does Google track people in some evil, nefarious way? I've got your stuff. Mostly no.
But he said they're not tracking. They are tracking. Of course they're tracking. I don't know.
Wait.
They're
He was
collecting
trying
data.
to respond to Rubini. Rubini was trying to paint a picture of a horrible, evil, surveilling monster.
All right.
And Eric's reacting to that. And let's be honest, we all hear this all the time. And so I would kind of say the same thing. Yeah, I mean, this is Bill Clinton time. Define is, but I would use the verb surveilling. The tracking, yeah, cookies track you. Okay, fine, they're tracked, yes. But tracking has taken on an evil word. And what I think Rubini was really trying to get to, and what Schmidt was really trying to answer is Google surveilling you?
Yeah.
Is it tracking you for a purpose that is against your will and without your knowledge, and that you would hate if you knew it, and it's evil and awful? No. Now, meanwhile, by the way, the government
No, I wouldn't say
is trying to get Google to do that. The government is trying to get Google to put back doors into chats in ways that you will not be aware of.
And Google was trying
That's
to do
the
it
problem.
with CISPA. Google was kind of supporting that effort. They were trying to at least establish kind of parameters around that. Well, let's take a break.
Google needs some instruction. Yeah.
Let's take a break because Mike Elgin wants to defend Jeff's wrong-headed support of the Google Pixel. And we'll give him his day in court in just a moment. Our show today brought to you by Squarespace.com, the place to go if you need a website. Squarespace is the best web hosting coupled with the best web content management system to give you a website that looks great, is mobile responsive, has every feature you'd ever want, including if you want the unlimited plan, unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, unlimited contributors, unlimited pages, and you can even add e-commerce to this. Go to squarespace.com. You don't need an offer code. You don't need a credit card. Just click the Get Started button. Choose your template. They have beautiful templates. And these are just starting points. I don't want you to think this is what your site's going to look like. This is just where you begin. And then you customize your site to make it incredible. They've got a new template. Let me see if I can find it. A full bleed template that is just gorgeous. What is it called? Momentum, right? Let's see if I can find it here in this. These are all mobile responsive, which means once you start using, maybe this is Momentum now. Once you start using this template, it will look good on any size page. There it is. It's the doggy. Click the doggy. So Momentum. Oh, you don't see my you don't see my screen, do you? There it is. So that's a full bleed. In other words, it is so beautiful image. And on a big screen, it fills the screen. On a small screen, it fills the screen. It looks great. The best mobile experience. They've got a new feature called Events Collection, which allows you to share schedule updates like store sale events, band tour dates very easily. Just really, that's beautiful, isn't it? Now, the point is you're going to get started with Momentum, but you're going to make it look like your own unique site. And that's what I want you to do right now. Visit squarespace.com. Click the Get Started button and try this free for 2 weeks. If you decide to buy, we've got a special offer for you. But let me just show you quickly the pricing because you're going to be blown away. I mentioned the unlimited plan. That's $16 a month when you buy an annual plan. Or you can go month to month for $20 a month. Add a few bucks more, $24 a month. You've got e-commerce on top of that. And they don't take a cut of what you sell. You can sell unlimited physical products, unlimited digital products. You get a mobile store inventory tracking. They'll calculate taxes for you. They'll handle shipping and coupon controls. So, I mean, this makes it as easy. You're going to create an amazing commerce site. Looks like you've been doing this your whole life in minutes. And then, of course, you also get the unlimited pages, unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, all of that. Custom domain name when you sign up for a year plan. They'll register your domain name and hook it up to the site. Of course, Squarespace has always got great support for you with help, and they have workshops and a great active forum too. I want you to try Squarespace. Visit squarespace.com. Click the Get Started button. If after 2 weeks you feel, and import all your content, by the way, and after 2 weeks you feel like, hey, I might want to try this out, use the offer code TWIG5, TWIG and the number 5, and you'll take 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, monthly or annual plans, but you're going to want to do the annual plan to save the most. Squarespace.com. Great place to start your next website. We're talking about Google in the cloud with Jeff Jarvis from the City University of New York. I like that. UNork. Danny Sullivan is also with us from Search Engine Land and Marketing Engine Land. It's always good to have Danny on because he sees through it. He's seen it all. He's been there. He's not going to take any guff. I like grumpy. And then the happy-go-lucky Gina Trapani wearing her Google Glass.
Gina the Borg.
I touched the Pixel for the first time this weekend when I went up to Google LA to pick up Glass, and so they had a Pixel there to check people in, and I said, "Oh, can I just try something?" And the woman was like, "Sure." And of course, the first thing I did was go to theverge.com and start.
Did you go full screen?
Down. I did.
And
I started, and I gotta tell you, Leo,
smooth as butter.
Pretty smooth to me, yeah.
All
Looked pretty smooth to me. And she was kind of looking at me, and I was like, "That's all."
Never mind.
I just wanted to see if there was
That's
any.
all I wanted to do.
Like, whatever. That's cool. So thank you. She's my glass guide.
When I went up to Google on Monday, I took the Pixel out for the first time, like on a road trip. I was really nervous about it because normally it's like MacBook Air, and I want to have all my stuff, and it was great. Didn't have any problems with it. The battery lasted just fine, and I was able to connect to my phone. Had some problems.
3 against 1, 4 when we include Mike Elgin now.
Yeah. Now, so Mike got his Pixel. He's using it. He says everything you've heard.
He's also gone entirely Google.
I know. He's like you.
He's trying to go entirely.
Everything
Google,
you've heard about the Pixel is wrong. Myth 1: the Pixel's overpriced. I don't know how you could say that's a myth, but okay, fine, whatever. He says
defense.
Compared to what? Compared to everything else. Let's see. Page. That's the first page.
Basically, you can't get a screen that good. And a hardware
application files are all in the cloud. Not true. In fact, more and more you're seeing apps that keep it on the touch screen is awkward and pointless. He says that's a myth. Pixel is well designed and engineered. Is as well designed and engineered as an Apple product. He says.
Not quite. He says.
Not quite, but it is better than any Windows product.
Yes.
The Pixel's inconvenient. He said it's not as inconvenient as you might think. Now, this is a myth that he says there's no market for the Pixel. I don't think anybody's demonstrated a market for the Pixel, but
yeah, I actually agree with you on that, Leo. I don't think the point of the Pixel is a market.
Yeah. Well, all right. So I'm just wrong. I'll admit it.
Yeah.
So things you don't want people to say about your glasses, they're not that bad.
They're not that bad.
Things you don't want people to say about your laptop, it's not that inconvenient.
It's not that inconvenient. It's okay.
I mean, it's still. You'd still be better off spending the money on a Retina. You'd have a far more functioning machine for a similar price, perhaps a little less. I mean, you would have a far more flexible machine, and the Retina quality screen, it's not that big a difference. Oh, it's slightly better than the Retina, whatever. The touchscreen is not anywhere near as good as, say, using the touchscreen of Windows, where you can actually touch the screen, pinch, zoom, do that sort of stuff. I've used it a couple times. It's not as compelling as it is with Windows, which was actually built and designed to have some touchscreen stuff. Unfortunately, it's got all that other Windows stuff that kind of comes with it. So, it's nice, but honestly, you'd probably be fine with just a Chromebook. Without having to spend the premium on a Pixel.
I think, and I've said this before, they really should do a $500 or $600 Chromebook that's not as crappy as the netbooks that they're selling, but not as high end as the Pixel. Something in between.
Asus is coming out with one that was on the rundown. Asus is coming out with one. We don't know what it's going to be yet. But you're going to see that, I think.
Yeah. Department of Justice says we don't need warrants to spy on your email, to read your Facebook posts. And
this is what you want to get mad about, not Google Glass.
I am much madder about this, believe me. Government documents obtained by the ACLU, and then they gave it to CNET, say that there's a little bit of a split within the Obama administration. Justice Department prosecutors and investigators privately insist they're not legally required to obtain search warrants for email. The IRS said last month it will abandon a controversial policy that says we don't need a warrant. So apparently they're just going and asking. They don't need a warrant. Although I think Google and others say no if you don't have a warrant, right? Obama may back an FBI plan, in related news, to wiretap web users. The Obama administration, resolving years of internal debate, according to the New York Times, is on the verge of backing a FBI plan for sweeping overhaul of surveillance laws that would make it easier to wiretap people who communicate using by the internet instead of phone services. Right now, you can easily tap a phone, but Skype makes it very difficult, and others, I'm sure Google Talk as well, make it very difficult to eavesdrop on our conversation, Jeff. This is just, talk about blood pressure raising.
Boy.
So just watch with interest as our civil liberties go down the tubes. But we've got very nice consumer electronics gear. And that's what matters. We're going to Google I.O. on Wednesday. Are you excited?
So excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So excited.
Let's get the changelog, and then I'd like to get some predictions from y'all about what we might see at Google I.O. But ready the trumpets, because it's time for the changelog.
The Google changelog.
And now Gina Trapani with the latest from Google. She's wearing it.
I'm wearing it. Gmail for iOS got an update that links directly to other Google apps. You can go into Gmail for iOS settings, and you can say, hey, use the native YouTube, Google Maps, and Chrome apps to open any links inside my messages. You can opt out of that by turning it off as well, and that's the new update that came out this week. Google now lets you add calendar events directly from Gmail if you click on a date and time. So this is English only for now, and I believe this is also rolling out this week for people whose language is set to English. But when you get it, if you get an email with a date and time within the message, you can click on that, the date and time, and see your calendar, so what you have on your Google Calendar around that date and time, and you can click on Add to Schedule if you want to, which is quite handy. Google Plus just added remote desktop to Hangouts. So this means that you can, while you're hanging out with someone, if they give you permission and you turn on the remote desktop feature, you can troubleshoot their computer, see what they see on their screen, remote control their computer via Hangout. So you'll find this feature under the Hangout app section. And the other user, of course, will need to grant you permission in order to let you see their screen. Finally, the YouTube debuted a new trends map. If you go to youtube.com/trends map, I believe. Let me double check that URL. I believe that's true. It shows you trending videos in different areas of the United States only, which is kind of cool. I zoomed in on this, and I was checking out trending videos by me amongst females my age. I don't want to tell you if it's over or below 35. Okay, fine, 35 to 44. Right now, the trending video is the guy who saved the women who were locked in that house. But it's really cool. You can kind of see the different videos across the country. You can see, like, in Middle America, you'll see kind of country music artists trend, whereas you'll see the trailer for True Blood trending in California. So you can see kind of different
We
YouTube,
like
and you can
vampires.
filter by gender and age over time. So that's kind of neat. Did I get that URL right? It's youtube.com/trends map, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. Yeah.
Trends map. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
that's it.
Cool. Yeah,
Neat.
cool. Yeah, that's all I got. The changelog.
And that's the changelog. Thank you, Gina.
Sure.
So this is how tightly they're controlling glass. Jason couldn't use my credit card to buy it because it has to be in his name.
Whoa.
Wow.
So he's using his own credit card. We'll just have to reimburse you someday. What? No, we'll give him a check. But they really don't want it to get out of your hands.
I kind of assumed that they would use your Google Wallet account, but they wanted a credit card.
Did they use your wallet account, Jason? No, they used a
No,
credit
they
card.
wanted a credit card. Yeah, they wanted a
$1,600
credit
bucks.
card. Well, yeah, with tax, right?
Yep. And do you have to use Android? Can you use? There's no Glass app for iOS.
Nope.
Nope.
Not yet.
Interesting. Interesting. You saw the Saturday Night Live spoof, Fred Armisen.
I did.
Very
I did.
funny.
Yes.
Kind of true.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm too close to it. The whole porn thing was a little much, but
Yeah,
it
right.
was fine.
Although, ironically, when I was using Scoble's glass, somehow, what was that showed up, Chad? It was something like
Oh yeah,
It
you
was
guys had issued a Google search, right? That was
by accident for porn.
I thought it was a Twitter message.
I couldn't figure it out. It was all of a sudden.
We need to go back to the logs and actually check the footage.
Something happened there. So here it comes, Google
Then
I/O.
again, remember how Doonesbury made fun of PDA?
Yeah, farm. It was a joke about the handwriting recognition on Newton. And Newton might be a good analog for this. When Newton came out, I bought one, and I had it, and I thought it was great. But really, you had to be an early adopter to think it was great. And it was merely a look at what wouldn't really take off for at least 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a video somewhere of me holding, I should find this, my Newton saying, someday this will be small, light, connected to the internet, and you could take it with you wherever you go. And, we're calling Jeff back. Is that what that ringing is? Now I'm seeing me. Hey!
There we go.
Sorry,
His audio got a little bit off.
So we're just fixing the sync. Okay. They say that, Gina, you should just say peacock. I don't know what happens then. Maybe you better not. Why do we get off the air?
I'm not going to say that. Yeah, sorry. I'll say Italian. Italian restaurant.
Italian.
Set my language to Italian.
Oh, yeah. Peacock was the Wi-Fi password for the NBC.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Peacock.
Right.
Peak. And then it's very funny. Very funny. So what are we going to see at Google I/O? We will be covering good news. I'm really happy to see that they've combined what used to be 3 keynotes into one. That's great for us. We will be doing live coverage of the keynote Wednesday morning. Not me, Jeff, and Gina, however, because we're going to be in the keynote ourselves watching it. But then what we're going to do after
tweet things to
yeah.
Drew or
oh yeah, we could do you got glass, you could be
Wouldn't that be funny if Google forbade you to wear glass to the keynote?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did, actually. Well, they do ask people to shut down their Wi-Fi, to turn off their Wi-Fi, because it's so many people, and so many of those people have 3 Wi-Fi enabled devices. But if I get a signal in there,
so I'm going to bring what kind of phone do you have? AT&T?
Galaxy Nexus. It's T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. You know what I like? Don't tell anybody. T-Mobile's really good around here. I'm getting the HSPA is better than the LTE because nobody uses it. Awesome.
Nice.
Shh. It's the best kept secret in cell phones.
I won't tell anybody.
So I'll bring an AT&T and a Verizon phone. You have T-Mobile. We'll find the best signal. You can pair the glasses to that, and then you can interview me and Jeff.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be really fun.
What are we looking at now? I don't know.
Well, they're going to live stream it. They're going to live stream it, right? So there's no,
So Tom and crew will be here
but that
doing.
won't be the same as broadcasting it from your glass.
Yeah. No, but they can cut to you then, right? And now let's see what Gina's seeing. It's the same thing, only way far back.
Right, exactly.
They're really tiny. Vic Kundra is this tall. And then we'll come running back and we'll do This Week in Google roughly the same time, I think, 1 or 2.
Driving very carefully over the bridge.
We're going to go so carefully down the middle of the bridge. We're going to have a police escort.
Last year, I think we were like a half an hour or 45 minutes late because I had to pick up a rental car, so there was a little delay there. I came straight from.
I'm throwing you in the back of my Mustang.
All right.
Whoever has the shorter legs has to sit in the back seat.
I think I do.
You can just.
Jeff doesn't appear isn't as tall on Skype as he is in person. He's very tall in person.
Yeah, people always say that. You're so
height.
tall. I didn't think so.
So
my personality is short.
So this will be good. We'll have good coverage of Google I/O, both coverage live of the keynote and then post facto coverage with Jeff, Gina, and Leo. Well, any idea of what we're going to see?
Google
New
TV.
Nexus 7.
Google TV is going to be big.
Google TV.
No.
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 Nexus, a new Nexus 7.
Nexus 7.
I think a new Nexus X, a Motorola successor to the Nexus 4, vanilla
you
Google.
think?
They'll actually release it, or
Yeah, why not? Actually, we'd
hope they
know
have
about it
enough
because they'd have to
time.
have FCC testing by now, right? I think
also reports of a Nexus 4 with LTE.
Okay.
That would be nice.
That'd be nice.
The Nexus 4 has LTE, just not. Doesn't it? It's just not on Verizon.
No,
Or is it
no,
not
no.
LTE?
It doesn't have LTE at all. No.
No, the report is that there's an antenna in there. But,
Oh, and internationally it might. Yeah. It doesn't have the frequencies.
Well, there's no
for
LTE
you.
internationally.
Yeah, there is. It's just different frequencies.
Well, not in Europe.
Different frequencies. They don't have it at all in Europe?
No, because it was a big mess with the selling of bandwidth. So 3G.
Oh, I didn't know
They
that.
just got it.
Oh, I
they just
didn't
got it in the UK.
Ah. Somebody in the chat room says it works on T-Mobile LTE if you use a trick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a
It's
trick.
banned
But
for
I
LTE.
think they disabled. They found a way to disable that or something.
Okay.
But
As
but
late
anyway,
LTE.
what's the new Nexus 7 going to be? Is this the one that they already announced?
Yeah, didn't we hear rumors that there was going to be kind of an updated Nexus 7? They might drop the price. It might be a little faster, a couple more features. Let me see if I can dig up that link at one point. But they're going to announce at least one new device, if not several.
I
Right?
would
I mean,
expect.
every I/O there's
Yeah.
several new devices, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I mean, the Nexus 7 was one of their most successful, amazing, devices that they've ever created. It seems like. It's
a new
shoo-in, right?
interface for
they've got it.
Google Maps, according to the Google Operating Systems blog.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll see that. At
Yeah, there's a
Google
lot of
I/O.
maps stuff in the program.
Yeah.
Lots of Google Plus stuff.
Games,
maybe.
Google Plus, yeah.
Games
I
and-
would love to. I still want to see this. Please, Google. You have a week to develop it. A Facebook Home version for Google Plus. Put that right on the Android. It'd be beautiful. Then we'll all be back with Plus. We'll just use Plus all the time. Plus.
I don't think that there's going to be a refresh of the failed Nexus Q.
No, that's for sure.
In the real world. Yeah.
That's
Chat
for
room
sure.
question. Pretty sure we're not going to hear
How about
anything about Nexus Q.
4.3? We'll see 4.3, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
New
What's
Jelly
the
Bean.
biggest thing that ever came out at an I/O?
Glass.
Glass.
Well, but we already knew that was there. Is there anything that was any
Wave.
surprise?
Wave. Was Wave announced at
Yeah.
I/O?
Wave was
Yeah,
announced at I/O.
Oh,
Wave
wait,
was demoed at I/O.
I can do this.
What are you
Give me a
doing?
moment.
Danny's frantically
Peacock.
searching his own archives.
Peacock.
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 I can do this. Yeah, if I had glass, it'd have been so much easier. Last year was the first I/O I missed since they started doing them.
I think Sergey
Sergey
on the roof of Moscone Center was pretty hot last year. I'd like
wait,
that.
Okay, here we are. Products announced during past Google I/O keynote. So here we are, class of 2000. Do you want the rundown? I can do it.
Just
quick.
pick one. Pick the biggest one. What's the biggest one on that list?
App Engine, Android.
Oh,
That's
that's pretty big.
Developers, I/O 2008.
That's big.
Chrome Store, Google Music, kinda. Google TV didn't make it.
Ooh, how about Babel?
Babel.
Actually,
That's
you know
definitely
what?
going to come out.
There's not
That
a very
might
good
be.
track record of stuff coming out of Google
No,
I/O that goes
no.
anywhere.
How
I
about
can
an
tell you the stuff that came out that was supposed to be big that died, like Gears, Friend Connect,
Oh,
App
boy.
Engine,
Ugh.
Google Wave,
Ugh.
The Q,
Google
Wave.
TV,
Q.
Home Store.
It's
Google
actually the
Music.
worst time to announce stuff.
Yeah, you kind of don't want to be announced during it.
I think Babel. I think Babel's ready. Don't you think?
Babel. What do they
And-
most want developers to work on now?
Chromebooks were announced. Chrome Keybook.
I would love to see what.
No, not really announced yet.
I'm actually kind of excited about Babel.
I am too.
Yeah.
I am too.
I hope it's good. I hope it's good.
How about a Write API for Google Plus?
Yeah, right. API for Google
Yeah.
Plus. Well, there's just gonna be
Yeah.
there's
That's
gonna be
never-
tons of Google Plus.
They could
they're
do
gonna be-
that. They're not going.
Yeah.
They're not going to do. They could have done that so long ago.
Yep.
It's not. They're not going to do that.
Yeah,
so
you
what's
think
the
each
next
thing's
wave of
not gonna
Google
happen.
Plus? What could they announce about? They're going to announce something about Google Plus because it's the thing they care about most. What could that be?
That by law everybody has to use it to use Google.
Yes, sir.
don't know. It's
I
like,
think
where,
I think the
where is it not
games-
at yet?
like the gaming the connection between Google Plus and Android, I think will be the Game Center.
Okay.
Leaderboards and sharing games and posting activity in games to Google Plus. That activities API where you could publish what you're doing.
Well,
to
we'll
Google
be
Plus.
there, and we'll let you know. You'll hear it here first, and then our analysis last. I'm mad at Yahoo. Marissa Meyer had the chance to buy To-Do Text. Instead, she bought that Astrid to-do list.
It was actually great for To-Do Text because everyone was like, oh, so companies can get shut down and I can lose my data, but I can't lose my data when I own it and it's in my own Dropbox. So
There you
I'm switched to
go.
To-Do Text. So I had a spike in sales, so thank you.
Really?
Thank you, Marissa.
People are smart. So Astrid, which is, I thought, a very good to-do list.
It was very good. It was our main. Most people would say, "Oh, if To-Do Text doesn't do what you need to do, get Astrid," which I was fine with.
Right. Or any .do. Well, now there's Astrid's gone. Now, are they shutting it down? They're going to.
They already have it.
Apparently, they're pulling it out of the Play Store.
Oh, they're pulling the store. That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
4 million downloads to date. It's a pretty big number.
Yeah, that's very good.
If you've previously purchased Astrid paid products, Yahoo will give you a refund. That doesn't sound good.
How much is it?
Well, I think Astrid's free, but then there's these locale plugins and power packs and
the power
there's
packs,
subscriptions.
Right.
So, wow, refund. That's pretty hardcore. All right. If
Good for
Astrid's,
them. Congratulations.
yeah, good for them and good for you. I'm glad to hear that people are smart. And we should mention To-Do Text. Your to-do list is stored in a text file, in text format.
File in Dropbox. Yeah.
Automatically synchronizes, works great. It's easy to use. You can even have command line interfaces to it, which I did.
You did.
I had a bash shell. I had a bash script that would add, do all that stuff. I got that from you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm excited about Dropbox-enabled apps like, or not even just Dropbox, Drive, Google Drive, or whatever.
Would you
that
support
stores
Drive
your
with
data.
To-Do Text?
Yeah, I mean, we could. We had on our to-do list forever, support multiple cloud providers. But honestly, because it's kind of a weekend project, it's an open source thing, we've just stuck with our Dropbox and we're just working on the UI. But we could easily do a version or add, Drive as an option to store there. Have you seen Fargo.io? This is Dave Weiner's outliner. This also syncs to Dropbox. So I'm kind of
pretty
excited
cool.
about, yeah.
Pretty
I like
cool.
And
the
I think
idea
to
of,
WordPress too.
mm-hmm.
This is the one that works with WordPress as well.
Yeah.
So Fargo is an outliner, but he points out you could use it as a to-do list or a notepad, and it stores the docs in Dropbox.
Yeah, it's OPML files. So I love this, like open standards, your own cloud storage, distributed cloud storage. I mean, you really can build. You could build like a Chrome app that uses local, syncs between local storage and your cloud provider of choice, and you don't need takeout, right? You don't need to depend on a centralized service.
Right.
You can kind of own your own data and store it, and use different clients for it.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with Gina's tool, our tip, our number of the week. Coming up, triangulation with Mr. Adam Carolla is going to be our guest. He's going to give me some love advice. But first, a word from hover.com, the reliable domain name registration and management service that we use and we recommend. It's simple, it's honest, it's clean, it's easy to use. No more of the upsell, no more of the sexy ads. It takes the hassle out of owning and managing domain names. Great domain management tools. It's clean. I just love it. And by the way, they have some great customer service. When you call hover.com during business hours, you'll be talking to a live rep who is empowered and eager to help you. No more putting you on hold or transfer you to somebody who could do something. You're gonna talk to somebody right away. It's awesome. They've got all the big top-level domains. Often people go there, and they told me to search for .com, and one of the things they do now is when the .com address is not available, they also show you that same domain in .net, which is really actually a pretty good domain name. They also have some of the unusual ones, .tv, .pro, .mobi, .biz, country codes like .ca, US, Asia, .uk, of course, .org. It is a great place. This week in Google.net. See? Somebody's already got .com. We could be a nonprofit .org. Oh, wait a minute. There's thatweekingoogle.com. That's the other show. This Week in Google.
Oh, that we can Google.
That's the Bizarro.
We should get one in German. And you could be Farfagnugen or whatever it is.
Diese Woche in Google.
Yeah. So I want you to try it. Go to hover.com. And by the way, we're going to give you a deal, 10% off when you use our offer code TWIG. So hover.com/TWIG will automatically activate that code. You'll get 10% off your first purchases. Hover.com/TWIG. Use the offer code TWIG and enjoy. It is a really great service. I'll get all my domain names over there now. And new ones all the time because it's fun to register domains. Now time for our tip and tool and pick and number. And let's start with Gina Trapani and her tip of the week.
Just quick little tip this week. Google has added Street View images to its one box results for an address, which is kind of neat. So if you Google, say, for instance, 140 Keller Street, Petaluma, California, you'll get a little map, a little Google map at the top of your search results, which you'd always get, but then you also get the Street View of that address. So I'm excited for you to get your sign up, Leo, because maybe your sign will be right there at the top of your search results. And you can click on the Street View image and go straight into Street View mode inside Google Maps, which is nice. It will transport you directly to right outside the brick house.
And then you can walk in because we did do a 3D internal mapping. That's where, by the way, that's where the sign's going to go. Right. See, that old sign is down, and it's going to go right there above the window. It's going to be just copper 3D letters that are going to stick out that say just TWIT. Very subtle.
Did you have to go through zoning stuff?
Apparently not. No, there is some permitting. Yes. Actually, that's part of the cost. But see, you can go right in. Yeah, and apparently we're on some list of Easter eggs or unusual things that you found while inside Google Street View.
Yeah, you're on the best, right.
Yeah, some sort of weird thing like that.
Yeah, this is awesome. How did you arrange this? Did you have somebody come in with the backpack? And
yeah, you pay. You have to pay. There are people who are trusted providers. Somebody contacted us. I think it was from Texas. There's me with the booze and the dog.
Oh, nice. So you were doing a show while they came in? That's so funny.
Actually, I came back the next day because I wasn't, when he first did it, I wasn't there. Yeah, I was doing, it looks like the radio show. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm surprised, Gina, that you did not mention pushover.
Oh, yeah. I've been playing with pushover. I really dig it. Do you use pushover, Leo?
Well, when I saw your tweet, or whatever it was it a plus or a tweet? I immediately signed up for it because I think this is really kind of intriguing.
Yeah, it's nice. It's kind of a developer tool right now. So it's an expensive app, relatively. It's a $5 mobile notifications app. And it's just a way for, some apps work where they can push notifications to it. And I actually wound up building a pushover plugin for ThinkUp because we didn't, we just haven't gotten to the place where we're going to build our native app yet, right? But I wanted to get notifications, so I hooked it up to pushover. But IFTTT, if this, then that, has some hooks in the pushover. So
that's where you'd probably want to use it, huh?
Yeah. So if you say, hey, if I want to know immediately if an RSS feed changes, for example, in IFTTT, you can say, if this RSS feed changes, send me a pushover notification. So yeah, I didn't bring it up because it's kind of more of a developer tool, I guess, right now. But it is cool if you want to chain together recipes in IFTTT. It's a pretty neat app.
And they give you code snippets for every, it's very simple. It's JSON, so it's very simple to add that capability. And watch, I'm going to send myself a notification here. I've set up my my phone. I'm doing this on the website. And default, I'm going to send myself a bugle. And I'm going to say, hey, Leo, it's time for triangulation. And then I'll send this message, and it'll go to my S4, and it'll play a little bugle sound. It's kind of neat.
Yeah. Nice.
And then the little message pops up that tells me it's time for triangulation. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, and I feel like there's going to be ways to use this. So, things like your Nest might be able to use it to say, hey, it's getting hot in here. I'm taking off my clothes or something. And
exactly.
Some sort of useful
it's great
thing.
For like any kind of monitoring scripts or anything that you just want to know that something go wrong. It's really nice. Instead of getting an SMS or getting a phone call, you can get pushover notification, and it's nice. You can set quiet hours. You can say use sound for this or not. It's really flexible. It's a good app. Well worth the $5.
Yeah, pushover.net, I think.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarvis, your number.
Well, I guess given the title of the show, I've got to do this one. Google hit an all-time high at 873.88 per share. Market cap now of $289.84 billion, worth more than Microsoft in all possible ways.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's 875. Wow.
Yep, 873.88.
Amazing. Hey, Danny, is there anything you want to recommend or mention?
I would say that if you haven't, if you've got an iOS and you haven't tried the new Google Search app, you should go do it. It's been very interesting. It's the one that gave you the Google Now functionality. And when it came out last week, I showed like my trainer. I was like, hey, I know you have iPhone. You should check this out. And I saw him on a Monday, and on Friday, he's like, oh my God, this is great. I'm getting all this stuff. This is like changed my life. And but he really liked it. But it's really, Google Now has really developed into this pretty awesome predictive search tool where it's coming up with information before you think about it. And what I think is most interesting that I found is that, when they relaunched the Google Search app in October of last year, you could speak to it and it would talk back to you kind of like Siri. And that got it up to the top 16 of the most downloaded apps on iTunes. And then it kicked all the ways down. And then before this latest update, it was around 150. It is in the top 10 right now, and it's been holding that way so far. So suddenly, Google has finally gotten something in terms of Google search that causing people to think, oh yeah, I should search Google, but not just by doing it through Safari in that little box. I should actually use the Google Search app a lot more, and I think Google Now has a lot to do with it. So I'd say check it out.
I've done a review already of the Galaxy S4. I ordered the 8-core unlocked 8-core version. That's the one I'm using on T-Mobile. It works really great with T-Mobile. And I was using, as you remember, the HTC One, was very impressed by that. But I have to say, this is much more of a pure Android experience. HTC's really kind of munged up a lot of the features of Android. If you want more Android, this is a great phone, I have to say. Camera not as good maybe as the HTC One, but interchangeable battery gives it a leg up. I'm a big fan. This is an Incipio case, but I have a couple others on order. But the Galaxy S4, very, very, very nice. Is
it a big step above the 3?
No. The screen is great. I mean, 1920 by 1080. There's a lot of crapware on it. They really loaded it up, but you can ignore it, and you can even disable it so you don't see it. Nevertheless, I have to say the speed, the better screen. And the camera's got some nice features to it, some really gimmicky features to it. It's just like a somewhat better Galaxy S3. It's the 4. It's the next one. It comes with a ridiculously low, paltry amount of memory, free memory, about 8 gigabytes. But I put an SD card in there, and I guess 16 gigabyte versions are coming. But my real tool of this week is Google.com. You got to go see the Google Doodle for this week. Can you show my screen? Chad, this is just today's Google Doodle is so awesome. Are you getting audio? Love this. Was it you, Danny, that said normally I hate Google Doodles, but this one I really like?
I'm all right with them, but it's nice when they...
It's kind of elaborate. You figured it out yet? It's a tribute. I guess it's his birthday. To one of the great screen title designers of all time. That's from the North by Northwest title sequence. He did a lot of Hitchcock.
And this is an HTML5.
Yeah.
This is YouTube.
Isn't it? Oh, yeah, you're right. It's a YouTube video. It's not HTML5. Wow. So, it goes on, too. It do go on. I guess that's why they made it a YouTube video.
By the way, if you're into watching video right now, I also recommend...
You can kill the audio so we can hear Jeff. What? What, Jeff?
I just was saying, while we're watching the rest of that, if you're watching video, I also will recommend to all of you Dick Costolo's commencement speech at University of Michigan, president of Twitter. It's very good.
All right, I will watch that. Awesome. So happy, I guess it's Saul Bass' birthday. Yeah, May 8th was Saul Bass's birthday. Happy birthday, Saul Bass. One of the great graphic designers, the king of the opening credits. Hey, thank you for joining us. This show is done every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. 2000 UTC on twit.tv. Watch live if you can, but if you can't, on-demand audio and video always available at twit.tv/TWIT. Twig, and wherever finer podcasts are aggregated. Danny Sullivan is the man at searchengineland.com. Been covering search since before there was a Google. That's how he knows so much. So nice to have you, Danny. Really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me. It's great to be here.
Always read your stuff on a regular basis. Also, buzzmachine.com. That's the blog I love from that guy right there. There it is. Jeff Jarvis, who's been looking good on Google Talk all through the show. That's great. Thank you, Jeff, for doing that. We appreciate it.
Twig
His
is on Google.
latest book, Public Parts. And don't forget Gutenberg the Geek. It's Amazon single. And always nice to have Gina Trapani here, mom of Etta. We've got 1 minute till the baby's... Oh, she's taking a picture. Glass, get me out of here now.
Don't violate my privacy.
Smarterware.org. You'll see all those Through Glass postings on her Google Plus page, plus Gina Trapani. Thank you so much, Gina. Jeff, Danny, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Actually, from Google I.O. on This Week in Google.